So I'm here with Max Pears, and he is a AAA level designer. And you might be wondering what qualifies as AAA? Well, he's worked on the Division, so I think that qualifies as massive AAA. Please tell me more about your experience working on the Division. Let's start with that.
So it was an amazing experience. I got to work with many different people from around the world. As you know, the great thing of working at Ubisoft is you got many different dev teams. You know, we had teams in Sweden, America, England as well. So it was great to work with that. I think also another amazing thing about it was the fact you get to work on an iconic city like New York for the first one, and that was incredible to see that, and to try and make sure that we got it as close as possible to that was phenomenal, you know. And Ubisoft's got someone like, in my opinion, some amazing people who work there, some strong designers who I was able to learn from, and so that was one of the most important things for me, man. Like, that was really cool, you know.
So can you tell us, for all the hardcore Division fans that may be watching this, what parts of the game did you develop as a level designer?
Yeah, sure. I just want to give a shout out to all the people that worked in it, because it's not just me as much as, like, I'd love to have an ego to do that.
Wait, it wasn't just you.
I know. That's what I said to get on here. I know I lied, but no, like, there's amazing people that did it. So a shout out to everyone who worked on that, because they deserve all the credit. I worked on, it was mainly the side sort of missions that you're doing, that with the random encounters. I also worked on the level design stuff for certain districts, like the final one, which was, I believe, Turtle Bay and Kips Bay as well, and worked with many other people to make those areas. So I would go around, design them, and then the artist would make them beautiful. So, and then I worked on the DLC, the Division Underground, so it was cool to work on that one. So yeah, procedural generated is very different to like what the main game's about. So it was great to work on that, because you got, from a level design perspective, you got to switch up your mind for that, because the fact that it's, like I said, it's procedural, and that a room won't be entered in just one way, it can be entered in multiple ways. So you've got to kind of design in, you know, a sense of 360 and also different objectives. So it was really cool on that perspective. I really enjoyed thinking differently because of that. That was a real cool moment for me, man. Really enjoyed that.
So Max clearly knows his stuff. What we would like you to do is to give as much advice and scope to young budding designers or even artists and other programmers that are looking to get into the industry. Let's start off with how you got into the industry.
Okay, sure. So for me, I always knew I wanted to make games, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the people watching know that as well. And one of the things that I then did is I took a course at Teesside University to get an understanding from there. But one of the things to help you, because a lot of designers out there will go to these university or online courses, but that's all the work they'll have in their portfolio. So my first tip is do your own personal work. It's going to take a lot of time, but it will be better to help you. So that way your portfolio stands out. It shows that you care about what you want to do as well. So that would be the first. Then the second is doing like networking, like being at events here. Obviously we've met here, and you're going to meet amazing people. So going to these events, I think, is great. I know it can be nerve-wracking talking to people. I get that. I get nervous, but everyone's really nice. I'm not, but I'm just a horrible person.
What, you're not nice?
Yeah, well,
You're yet to offend me.
There's still a yet in there.
Yeah, there's still time.
No, man, but like, everyone's super nice, everyone's really cool, and it's enjoyable. So like, do that and speak to as many people and ask questions. That's always a good one to just do with that. So those are like my top 2 tips on it. And always just learn to try to get better, because like I've been in the industry for over 5 years. I don't know everything, and I never will know everything. But it's still important just to learn, like, and that's the most important thing, is everyone's trying to get better. So just keep learning. That's one of the best ones I can give as well.
So what was one of the first things that you made, not for a personal portfolio project, but as like an actual role professionally, if you're allowed to say?
Yeah, no, I'm allowed to say. My first professional role, I worked at a mobile company called Fog Media based up in Sunderland. And it was this thing, it was a game called, well, I'm trying to forget this, can't believe I forgot it. It's a game called High Rise, where you had this crane arm and you had to build your tower as big as possible. If you knocked over blocks, then it was game over. But that was my first professional one. And it's simple, like the premise, but it was really amazing to do that. And I got to learn to code because of that as well. And I think that's great, so that I can not just level design, but I can do some programming as well because of that. But it was great fun. We had some good times on making those mobile games as well, So.
But you're very much into AAA console, PC games, that kind of stuff now.
Yes, I'd say like the mobile, industry is booming and they're doing some amazing stuff, and even indie, like they're always pushing the mark. But for me, like right now, my passion and where I am right now is within the AAA market, and that's something that I love, and I'm very fortunate every day to go make games with amazing people, and hopefully that millions of people will love as well, and that's always, it is the dream come true, you know what I mean? And that's something I really do enjoy, and yeah, I love it.
So when it comes to level design, for just a key thing that maybe you find something personal to you, like a factor that you find really important, what would you say is like a really shining diamond in terms of your specific style and the kind of things that you focus on?
Do you mean when I'm building or stuff that I've already made, mate?
Either or, like whatever you think would be worth mentioning, something that you think is like one of the most important points of level design, whether it be something like accessibility or aesthetic or something like that.
So I think the most important thing is do your research, because it's based on real life. Like the buildings we're in, it's all based on real life, especially working on something like The Division, which was New York. So we need to make sure those buildings felt like an American architecture. So make sure you study that. There's a great book, 101 Things I Learned at Architecture School. Anyone can pick that up,
I have heard of that book from so many designers. Yeah. I haven't read it yet. I need to read it. Like, literally, everyone talks about that book.
If you haven't, do read it. It's fantastic. But that's one of the biggest advice I can give is research that, and then also understand architecture. Understand, here we have pillars in this building, why they're placed there. It's because to support structure. So do the research on why is that. And then if you're making a building, maybe like a sewage plant, research how sewage plants work so you understand how they connect, what's in it. So that way it's more believable there. And remember, not all rooms are squares as well. That's a common mistake young designers make. They make them very boxy. That's fine to start with, but just look around you and you'll find that nothing is just a box. So there's some of the simple tips there. One of my favorite levels I ever made, if you play Division Underground DLC, there's one in a sewers and it's got a massive kind of sewage pipe in the center, this big circle. That was actually an Easter egg for a film I watched. I don't think I can give it away, but you'll see it and you'll get it. But that was great for me because...
What was the film, may I ask?
It was actually for one of the Star Wars films, the big hole that Luke falls down in episode 5.
Yeah.
Inspired me for that one, but it is a really nice. But it also works because it's a sewage pipe and those sort of things. It made sense with. But what I loved about that is the fact that I pushed that crazy element by having that landmark there. It made that a memorable level because of that, and it was one of my favorite ones that I've ever made, and I really did enjoy working on that. So yeah, that was one for me.
One final point I would like to ask is, what is a game that you've played and you thought the level design was something everyone should see? Even if it be an older game on a PS1, 4, something like that, something that you think is outstanding.
So it's not gonna be an older game this time, but I do want to say God of War, the latest one on PS, is a masterclass for level design. Honestly, their team has done an incredible job. Even the story, the Leviathan acts, they do something amazing, but their level design is fantastic. Some of the best that I've seen in a long time, and if you do like level design, check that out. Honestly, it's so much you can learn from that. I was blown away by what they did, and honestly, amazing job that they all did for level design there. So, yeah.
Max, thank you very much for talking to us.
No worries, man.
Best of luck on whatever project you're working on now, and we look forward to seeing what you get to work on in the future as well.
Definitely. Thank you very much, mate. Cheers, buddy. Cheers, guys.